Hello and welcome. Today we are going to talk about how to lose weight, how to achieve your goals without having to change any of the foods that you're eating now. So this might sound ridiculous, right? Because what if you're eating a bunch of fast foods, crap foods, processed foods, cookies and cakes? The premise is that I want you to understand that it has to do with more of how we're eating and the frenzy and the restrictions and that back and forth yo-yo pattern versus the system of the foods that we're eating. Like deciding that I'm going to take control of how I eat. Now, before we get into this, because I'm going to give you some really great takeaways, you're going to be able to implement this immediately and get great results. Like it changes everything. And the reason I want to share this is exactly the system I learned in the very beginning. I studied all emotional eating. I had emotional eating issues and diet and binge eating and all the crazy stuff that happens when we are on these restrictive calorie diets. And I learned about, somebody recommended that I read Janine Roth's books. And she literally changed everything for me. One of the things that she taught in the books, and I did this, is to go out to eat by yourself, sit down at a table that people can see you, so it's in front of people, we're not alone. And so the practice was to order food in front of people by yourself and eat a meal. And what this does is it teaches us how to be mindful. So that's what I'm going to share with you today, because we want to learn how to eat less so that we can lose some weight and fat, right? But we don't want to feel deprived. So all the diet programs, all the diet plans, what do those do? They restrict us to eating foods. A lot of them are, they're good basis, but they cut out the foods that we love. And so we feel deprived and we don't follow it because we have a binge or we screw up or we go off, right? And then we judge ourselves and then we say this doesn't work. So instead of saying, what's the best diet? Should I do keto or paleo or intermittent fasting, or what diet's the best? And can I eat white potatoes? Aren't those bad for you? Should I just stick with sweet potatoes? All of these type of questions, they're irrelevant to our long-term success because that's not going to help us achieve, number one, the body that we want and keep it, right? You might get some results, but it's not going to last. It's very short lasting. So I want to teach you what is the basics of eating less without feeling deprived. So this is the practice, and I'm going to recommend, I'm going to give you the bullet points, and then I want you to try it and let me know what you find if you're brave enough to take this on. So instead of changing what you're eating, just for example, you're going to go and eat the same foods that you always eat in a day, okay? So whatever it is that you've been eating, you're going to eat it. But what you're going to do is you are going to follow a system of slowing down and eating with dignity. The issue that many of us have is we are scarfing down as much food as we can in a very short amount of time because A, we're in a hurry, B, we want all the food because we're hungry or we're not eating enough or we're just all over the place with our nutrition, right? And so we're very confused and we don't want to think about it, so we're scarfing foods down. Now they did a study, real quick before I jump in, I want you to know that there's research behind this that proves this system works. They did a study of two times this group of women ate. So they sat them down. The first study they did, they says, I want you to eat this meal. It was the same meal twice, 2 times, different times. This is the first time they said, eat as fast as you can. Just eat the meal as fast as possible, all right? So in that course of the meal, the average time, I think, was about 9 minutes that they finished this meal, all right? That meal was in finishing in 9 minutes, they had eaten about 650 calories, right? Second time they ate the same amount of food, the same meal, they were told to put their utensils down between every bite and try to extend the meal as long as possible. Now that meal took about 27 minutes, and they had eaten 500, I think it was less than 550, so over 100 calories less because they slowed down. Now, what would happen if you were to eat the same foods that you're eating now, but you just decided to slow down? Not worry about, do I cut out carbs? Do I eat at 9? And when do I stop eating before bed? And all of the craziness. And what if you just decided, I'm going to eat with a strategy? everything in life that moves towards a different result is done in a strategic way, right? Like if you want to learn something, you have to follow a specific strategy to learn the thing, right? Break or build a new habit, you have to follow a specific strategy to do that. Or you're going to build a bad habit in the meantime, right? Whatever you want to learn, go to school, you're going to have to learn something new. Take a course, you learn. It's a strategy. It's done in a way that it's a system. The same thing is going to apply for this, and it's not about cutting out all your foods, okay? So I want to challenge each and every one of you that doesn't want to follow a diet, that just wants to see, can I lose some weight with the system? Because let me say that you will, if you're doing it correctly. All right, so what I want to do is I want to give you just the bullet points on this. The first reason this works, because I want you to know that this is not something that I'm just telling you because I think it's fun and I've tried something new and it worked. This is backed by science. Research has been done, and the reason why this system, which I will explain, works, number one is your physiology. Okay, so for physiology, and I'm going to write probably more and more sloppy as I go. And the reason this works with the physiology of it is 20 minutes. When we take time to eat, like 20 minutes, that's, and you probably heard this too, that's that time frame that your body's able to get the cues or feel satisfied or satiety, okay? Satiety. I always say that word wrong. Satiety. That just means you're satisfied from the meal, right? Instead of scarfing it all down, like that first meal, that first group, they ate it in 9 minutes. They ate all the calories, right? And they were done very quickly. And they probably could have continued to eat more because they didn't get the cues yet that they had eaten, right? Their body was still catching up with the process. They were eating too fast, like system malfunction, right? I think that's what most of us are doing. But the second time they did that, and they ate as long as they could, and they actually put their fork down or spoon down and took breaths and actually created this process, well now, by the time 20 minutes went by, now their bodies is like, I'm done, I'm full. So most likely they stopped eating before they finished everything on their plate, so they ate less, they felt better, right? They weren't scarfing food down, and that's another tip I want to talk about, because when we're eating too fast, we're not chewing the food enough. So a lot of times we have like issues in our tummy because we're just eating too fast, and the nutrients aren't being broken up and absorbed as well because we are just, taking a couple bites and swallowing the foods. So the stomach's not able to digest as well because the digestion happens in our mouth, believe it or not. All right, the second reason is psychology. So physiology, obviously, because it's how the body works, right? It takes 20 minutes to feel satisfied. Psychology, and I didn't spell it right, but who cares, is when we're able to slow down and actually savor something and actually take our power back and not feel like we are in this race and we have to eat as much as we can and we have to panic. Once we slow down, you notice people that are more confident, they move slower and they move with intention and they speak slower and they just move with this different set of style versus somebody who's really nervous and they're just going really fast and oh my gosh, like that's somebody who's just in a rush and not really going anywhere. And so when we're eating like that, it feels like we can't get enough. And for me, and if you guys have ever dealt with emotional eating, binge eating, that's a lot of the times where that comes into place. Like I didn't get to take care of myself in some other area. I'm going to take care of it with food. I don't even care what I'm eating though. I'm just throwing food in my mouth as fast as I can before anybody finds out. Nobody can see me. I'm in the kitchen or I'm in somewhere by myself and I'm just eating as fast and as much as I can. And it is a problem. And I know there are people who suffer with this. And it's something that a lot of times I would say go get some help because there's a lot of psychological things going on. It is not your fault and you're not a bad person and you do not need to go on a diet. That is the opposite of what you need to focus on. All right, so and another reason that this system, which I'll have to turn this upside down to finish my notes, but the reason that these also works is because it helps us lose a little bit that weight slowly without feeling like we're cutting anything out. And then we feel better because again, we take our power back. We feel like we're in control. We're not at the mercy of a diet plan. We're not at the mercy of our cravings and hunger cues and how many calories did I eat today and did I go overboard and how much more should I exercise before I could get all this weight off. No, now we're in control. Now we're saying, you know what? this is what I'm going to eat because I like this food or I like this meal, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to follow those principles that Kathy shares, and I'm going to have better results because I'm going to feel better. And the last thing that's really important, again, is we need to slow down how we're chewing up our foods and start the digestion process there. Because when we are taking a huge, just throwing food in our mouth, taking a couple bites and swallowing it, it messes up with we could get bloated, tummy issues, GI issues. Like, there's a lot of problems because we are not eating correctly. If we could just slow down, step back a little bit, stop the panic of how do I hurry up and eat all the foods on the diet and get my results, and actually slow down and understand that there is a system that works without us having to go crazy and find some magical pill and potion and diet plan, because they don't exist. Okay? So you can have your cake, literally, and eat it too, and still lose weight when you're doing it right. Obviously, you have to eat other good foods. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the good foods. You know what's healthy and what's not. But without cutting out your favorite foods, you can still, and you should have your fun foods, lose weight. All right, so I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to talk about the process. So before you start your next meal, I want you to set the intention. You have to have the intention before you start. So it's just like when I mentioned I did this practice when I followed Janine Roth's system of going out and eating, sitting down at a table by myself, knowing that other people were around me, ordering a food, whatever I wanted, and eating it in front of people, seeing that I'm here eating this meal by myself. So there's a lot of things going on there. And that gave me the ability to slow down, to eat like I really cared about what I was doing, what I look like. But when we're eating in private, when we're eating by ourselves, when we're eating not at the table, just walking around and running through life, we're not truly giving ourselves the awareness, the attention. We're not slowing down. We're eating too fast. We are not even aware of a lot of the extra foods and calories, which is why tracking is such a big thing, because then we look at on paper or on our app, oh my gosh, is this what I ate? Because we're not aware. We're not aware when we're scarfing these down and running through the day. So I would say every meal, be intentional, sit down. If you listen to my vacation plan, that's a big reason why that's easy to do. Like, you can go on vacation and lose weight and not have to, I mean, you could eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, but there's a system to it. And it is about a little bit of these same steps. So the first one, sit down. So you're going to sit. You can't do this when you're running around. You can't do this in your car. You can't do this watching TV or scrolling through your phone. Like, put everything away, sit down, and actually, this is time to eat. I feel like I have something in my eye. So this is time to eat. This is not time for me to try to multitask and do everything else and answer an email and answer a text and watch a show and whatever. This is time to eat. All right? Give yourself this. If you're going to follow this, at least follow it correctly. So you're going to sit down, and you are going to have your food. Sit down. So your food's in front of you. Before you eat, before you start to eat, before you pick up your utensils or whatever, I want you to just take a breath, one breath. All right, and we're going to do that together right now. I'm going to show you how to take a breath. I know we breathe all day, but a lot of us are just running around through day, and we're like, okay, yeah, and we're running, and we're breathing, and we're running, and we're breathing, and we're not really focusing. So this is how you take a breath, okay? So I want you to sit down, put your feet on the floor, unless you're doing something else. My chairs are making noises. So feet on the floor, put your hands on your belly. All right, you can take one hand on your chest if you want to, but I want you to feel the hand that's on your belly rising more than the chest, all right? So sit up nice and tall. I want your spine lifted, shoulders back. You don't have to do this when you're sitting at the table, but just sit up straight. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Fill your belly with breath. Ready? Hold, and then press the breath out. That's it. Like 4 counts. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. And then pick up your spoon or fork and take a bite. I'm writing everything down because this is how simple it is. Pick up your utensil and take a bite. Now, what do you do after this? So now we've sat down, we've taken a breath, we've picked up our utensil, and we've taken a bite. Now what are we going to do? We are going to put the utensil back down. We are going to chew up the food, and we are going to enjoy the flavors. Whatever it is you want to do, and the first couple times, this is going to feel really weird. guaranteed, you're going to feel like, I feel like a moron, because this is not how people eat. But it is truly how we're supposed to eat, okay? So, you don't have to do it so, like, exactly like this, but in changing your patterns, this is a good technique to follow. So then you're going to put the utensil down. Put the utensil down. Chew food thoroughly. And this is when you don't pick up your phone, don't scroll, don't watch TV, don't whatever. Don't get up and walk around. Just literally, I'm doing one thing at a time. I'm chewing the food. I'm enjoying the flavors. Like, this is good food. I chose to eat this, by the way, right? This is not a diet. This is something I chose to eat. I'm going to enjoy the flavors, the textures, whatever. The fact that I have food, that I can eat food that I like, right? And then I'm going to, again, take another breath. Guys, this is how easy this is. Before you pick up your utensil, take another breath. I know it sounds weird. Pick up your utensil and eat again. All right? You will. Can you guys see this? You're going to pick up this utensil and you are going to do this again. So we're sitting down, taking a breath. Picking up our utensil, taking a bite. Putting the utensil down, chewing the food thoroughly, enjoying the textures, whatever you want to do. Sit there and have a conversation with your people that you're sitting with, or just if you're by yourself, you're enjoying the surroundings. You're just enjoying the fact that you have food in front of you, okay? Then you're going to take another breath, and you are repeating this pattern. And what I'd like you to try to do, because this might be enough for the first few times, because you're going to feel weird. You're going to feel really weird, and it's going to be like a whole new world, okay? And you're going to wonder, what is Kathy even saying? But this will work, because it's going to start to break those old patterns of scarfing everything down, not knowing what you ate, and moving on to the next thing. Like, what do I have? When could I get seconds? And what am I going to have after this? And what's for dessert? And like, that's ridiculous. And what am I going to do after my meal? Enjoy your meal, okay? We don't do this. Enjoy what you have. And then once you get better at this, because it will start to feel better, you're going to have less digestion issues after your meal. You're going to have less bloating and gas. I know, that's a thing, because of how we're eating. You're probably going to have better results just because of that. You're going to feel leaner already, because you're not going to have this big old bloated belly, right? Just because you're eating, you're chewing, you're eating correctly. And then what you're going to also practice once this gets easy, because this will get easier over time, then I want you to start, just like I shared with that the test group, you want to extend your meal as long as you can, up to 20 minutes. Can you extend your meal that maybe it has taken you 3 minutes, right? Or if that, can you start to extend it? And don't be too crazy with it, like go 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15, try to get up to 20 minutes. You can try longer if you want to, but 20 minutes is that good place. And I'm going to guarantee you're going to start to notice you're going to get full faster. Not faster, but you're going to notice the fullness kick in. Maybe you don't even know what full feels like until you're so sick and you're like, oh my gosh, I ate too much, right? Or you just overdo it because you're not slowing down. So you'll notice the satiety, there's the word, I always say satiety, I don't know why, it's not even a word. Satiety levels will kick in, and you will notice that you might even stop eating before your food is cleaned from your plate, because you don't have to clean the plate, okay? You guys have seen my portion plate video that I shared with you. If not, go scroll through. I've shared that before. Or if not, comment below and I'll send you the video. But you have this plate and you divide it in half. This is something, I didn't make this up. This is something that's been around forever. But you divide that plate in half. Half of it's with fruits and vegetables, some little healthy fats. The other half, you cut that into 2 quarters. 1 quarter you fill with your healthy proteins, the other with your healthy carbs. You pretty much base every meal like that. Enjoy the flavors. Follow the system. You don't have to follow a diet. This is the diet. This is food. This is good, healthy foods done correctly, eaten properly, and over time you'll realize I'm like satisfied. I've had enough food. I think I'm full. And the most exciting part is now you can wait a few hours if you're following the plate portion process, and you're going to start to feel hungry. I know, it's crazy. You got full after a meal, and then you wait, and then you get hungry. It's almost like your body knows what to do. It's almost like we don't need to follow a diet plan. We don't need to go buy into another diet plan. We just need to learn how to eat the foods that we truly have now. I hope this blows your mind, guys. This is as simple as it is. Let me know below if you have any questions, comments, and if you're going to try this, because, guys, this is a game changer. All right? I'll see you in the next video.